Hi, this is Onward Vet, Scenario 1, Oncology Clinical Trial. So the first step we're going to show is the technician is going to make an appointment with the owner to talk about the trial. So they would go to manage appointment. Now at this point, they may not know the details of the patient or the client, so they would just set up a block time on the calendar and description talking to the owner about the trial, and go ahead and save this so that it's on the calendar. So once the client comes in, the technician is going to go to patient visit, and assuming that they set up the client and the patient details already, they're going to go ahead and bring up the patient, and at this point they can make a client communication note here. So put a little note here saying talk to the client about the trial, and that note's going to be saved in here that everybody can see. So once the client agrees to the participation, what they're going to do is going to go to the manage patient, manage existing patient, and at this point we're going to go ahead and bring up the patient record that was set up, and we're going to go ahead and tag the patient for the trial. So there are different ways, different categories of tagging you can do. These are again completely customizable to your practice. So here, for an example, within this category you can have many other subcategories. So we've got like 2 studies in here, lymphoma and this other study here. And then you can put a little tag note here as well. Client has signed the consent form. By the way, the consent forms are electronic in Onward Vet. You can go ahead and upload the consent forms, and the user can sign it using their finger on the tablet. And then you can see here's an example of a consent form for the trial, and the owner has signed this at the bottom. And you can print this, give it to the owner, but you don't need to keep a printed copy because the electronic signature is stored in the database. Okay, so at this point we can upload other documents here as well. If there are any x-rays that you need to upload, you can upload those. You can upload lab reports, any documents, and those get stored with the patient record. All right, so at this point it's the night before, for example, of the actual procedure. What the doctor is going to do is going to go to edit visit, check in the patient. Again, this is the night before, and they're going to go ahead and put in whatever orders need to be put in here. For example, we've shown an x-ray and some lab test, and so this is the night before. And at this point, if you look at the treatment plan, which is a flow sheet, it shows x-ray, a lab test, any medications. You can set up the frequency, how often and what time you want to start. Same thing with the medications or any other categories here. In the monitoring categories, it shows nothing here right now, but this can be customized for your practice to say note temperature every 4 hours, take for a walk, or check for defecation, things like that. You can set up those categories here really easily, and the frequency. So as and when technicians complete certain tasks, they go ahead and put in the initials in there, and they can add a note as well. And other people can add notes in there as well. So here, for example, here's a note, sample of a note that you can see. Any task that missed is going to show in red. Any task that's not completed yet, but the doctor has ordered, those show up in yellow. Okay, so this treatment flow sheet details, you can print this out, and then you can also see this in the full medical history. So this is a common treatment sheet that everybody can look at and see what all treatments are being done on the patient. To communicate this information to other departments, you can click on full medical history, you can write a little note here, and you can email this either to the client, or you can email this to a certain department, and you can attach documents here as well and put a little custom note here. So that's one way of communicating with other departments. We are also setting up a tagging system that you can do. For example, you can select the patient, and then you can select the department and put a little note here. So we'll be working on this as well. But the full medical history, the way I showed you before, this is available right now. If you want to send this information to an outside researcher, you can put their email address here and attach these documents and send the full medical history. So this is a really easy way of communicating. You can set up referrals associated with that patient in the referral system, and you can just say email referral to, and that information goes to whoever you had assigned as a referral, or the other way around. Okay, so at this point, once the procedure is completed, you can go ahead and add the procedure here. So if it's, amputation, etc., you can go ahead and add that. And once that's done, you can go to bill charges, and you can go ahead and charge out the patient. Now, in terms of charging out, whoever is set up as the client for this patient, they get charged. If it's a university-owned patient, then the charges would be applied to the university as well. So this is how you charge them out. You put in the credit card information, etc., and then you just say save and apply payment. All right. So at this point, if you want to set up reminders, like one of the requirements was patient recheck reminders, you can go to patient reminders up here, and you can say, you can either set up a callback reminder to find out how the patient is doing. And this is, you can set this up for maybe the day after. Save that. Next date, yeah. And the previous date is, when was this completed? So today. All right. You can also set up a recheck reminders. So you can just say appointment reminder here, and then you can say, come back for recheck. So anytime anybody wants to see the reminders associated with the patient, they can just click on patient reminders, and all these reminders will show up. Okay. So that's all we wanted to show you in this video. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. And now we'll talk about the second video for the second scenario. Thank you very much.